Well, we're going back to the venue of where a landmark agreement has been reached between Iran and the P5+1, and that's in Geneva, Switzerland. We have Iranian Foreign Minister Mr. Mohammad Javad Zarif speaking at a press conference there. Some of the details that have emerged of this agreement, this interim agreement that's been hammered out following intensive and extensive negotiations of over 4 days of talks between Iran and the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council. That's the United States, Russia, China, Britain, and France, including Germany, taking place in the Swiss city of Geneva. The news that a deal had been reached initially had been confirmed by Iran's Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif, the gentleman you're seeing right there on your screen, and the spokesman for the EU High Representative Catherine Ashton. That's Mr. Michael Mann, who issued the initial statement. Let's listen in to the comments of Foreign Minister Zarif.
I would like to ask my Iranian friends, with your permission, I'm going to have my initial remarks in English, and after this special meeting, I will also attend a press conference with the Iranian media.
Let me begin by thanking you all for having stayed up all night, not only tonight, but the nights before, and covered this important development. Let me thank the government of Switzerland for its hospitality, as well as the United Nations for providing us with the opportunity to conduct these discussions. I'm also grateful to Lady Ashton for her leadership of E3+3 and other ministers who participated in the talks. We just finished many days of hard work, last round of which lasted over 4 days. It was work to address an issue that had taken all of us a long time to create, and now we are in the process of moving forward with this resolution based on mutual respect and equal footing. I believe it is important that we, all of us, see the opportunity to end an unnecessary crisis and open new horizons based on respect for the rights of Iranian people and removal of any doubts about the exclusively peaceful nature of Iran's nuclear program. These have been and will remain our objective, and I'm confident that through cooperation we can move forward. This is only a first step. It's an important achievement, but this is a first step. We need to work together based on the same principles on which we started, principles of equal footing, mutual respect, and common benefit, so that we can put an end to this unnecessary and rather sad chapter. I hope that as we go along, we can start restoring the lost confidence. The Iranian people demand respect for their rights, but demand respect for their dignity. And it is important to restore their confidence. And I hope this process can do that. So this late hour or early hour, whichever you want to call it, let me finish here and maybe answer a few questions, and then I will have time to have a chat with my Iranian colleagues.
Thank you, dear journalists, for joining us, and thank you, Mr. Minister. ما شروع میکنیم سوالات رو با آقای نجف زاده، خبرنگار واحد مرکزی خبر.
توافق امروز
Today's agreement covers several important domains. The most important one is that Iran's enrichment has been recognized, and this process will continue. So I'm going to attend another meeting with my Iranian colleagues in order to respect others.
In a separate meeting. So maybe a couple of questions from non-Iranian audience, and then I'll go.
Yes, we can start by Scott Peterson from Christians.
Yeah, go ahead.
With respect to our past experience of the Westerners, from your point of view, to what extent will the Westerners remain committed?
The question was how much confidence I have, having the experience that the Western countries will take their steps. The answer is we have established a joint commission to monitor the implementation of our agreement. So this is a process of attempting to restore confidence, and I hope that the two sides can move forward in a manner that would be conducive to this objective, because that is an overarching objective. We need to start moving in the direction of restoring confidence, a direction that we have managed to move against in the past several years, and the West requires to be able to gain the confidence of Iranian people. Now we go to Scott.
Okay.
Dr. Zarif, Scott Peterson from the Christian Science Monitor. What have we witnessed today? Are you able to say that we have witnessed the beginning of a reconciliation of the Islamic Republic with the West and also with many other countries in the rest of the world? Is this the beginning of a step in that direction? And secondly, what are you able to take back to Iran, to Tehran, and say that this was a victory for us, or to be able to tell the Iranian people that this was something that was worth fighting for?
Well, I think our aim was to resolve the nuclear issue. That's the objective. We thought that was an unnecessary issue, and it prevented or precluded the possibility of addressing more important issues that are of paramount importance to us, to the region, and to the world in general. We have seen the results of some in the last few days. So I think we are moving in that direction. I hope the outcome of this process, in addition to the resolution of the nuclear issue, will be to take concrete steps in the restoration of confidence, particularly the confidence of Iranian people towards the West. And that would be a good new beginning for our relations. But that is the secondary objective. The primary objective is to move in the direction of resolving the nuclear issue.
Yes, now Jim Scuito from CNN.
One of the key questions leading up to this deal has been, how do you settle this dispute over the right to enrich, right? Western officials, including American officials, say they will not recognize any country's right to enrich. This is a demand of the Iranian side. I already see that some Iranian officials are claiming that right has been recognized. You say the program is recognized. The White House says there is no formal recognition of a right to enrich. So I wonder, how did you square that circle? And if I could just ask a follow-up to say, we're aware of the great stakes of these negotiations from the very beginning. I wonder if you can say that it is safe to say that with tonight's agreement, you and the West have avoided the prospect of a war.
Well, I always believe that war is not only unnecessary, it's impractical, imprudent, and illegal. So if we have been able to prevent an illegal action, that's a major accomplishment, but it shouldn't be, because people should stop threatening to use force, because that option is no longer on the table, has been removed from the table long time ago, at least 6 decades ago, when the United Nations Charter was adopted. So I think people who are talking about the preeminence of international law must recognize the fact that threat of force is illegal, is against international law, and you cannot preserve any international obligation through the threat of force. Now, as far as the right is concerned, if you read the Non-Proliferation Treaty, it says in Article 4 that nothing in this treaty can deprive member states of their inalienable right. The right to nuclear technology for peaceful purposes, including enrichment, within the context of the NPT is an inalienable right. What is required is for other countries to recognize and respect the implementation of this right by those who decide, based on their own free will, to implement it. The struggle that we have gone through in the past several years has been for the rest of the international community to accept the fact that Iran was implementing this right and to refrain from imposing restrictions on Iran and imposing penalties on Iran only for having exercised what we believe, and a large majority of the international community believe, based on the letter and spirit of the NPT, to be our inalienable right. So we need respect for that right. We need member states to refrain from imposing pressure on Iran when it exercises that right. And we believe that the current agreement, the current plan of action, as we call it, in 2 distinct places, has a very clear reference to the fact that Iranian enrichment program will continue and will be a part of any agreement, now and in the future.
Thank you very much. Laura, if you're ready, you can ask. Okay. Margaret Warner from PBS. You should start.
Congratulations. The White House or the administration put out a fact sheet on the deal, and it does not mention the right to enrich. And if you look at that particular article in the NPT, it says something about not depriving any state of the right to production and development. It never mentions the word enrich. So I'm just wondering where in the text, is it implicit or explicit in your view?
In the NPT, it doesn't talk about nuclear reactors, it doesn't talk about research reactors, it doesn't talk about power plant, it simply talks about the development, use, production of nuclear energy for peaceful purposes as an inalienable right. This inalienable right does not need explicit recognition. It's there whether you recognize it or not. And Iran enjoys that right. It's important to have respect for that right and respect the fact that Iran's enrichment program continues. And many times, at least twice very explicitly in this text, this recognition is there that Iran will have an enrichment program. And we believe that to be our right, and we are exercising that right, and we only require respect for that right.
As a last question, Michael Adler from Woodrow Wilson.
It's been a hard few days. I just wanted to ask you a question. This is a huge step towards reconciliation, not just with the United States, but with the region. But how do you feel about reactions that might come from Saudi Arabia and from Israel, who have already criticized this agreement?
Well, this agreement is geared towards resolving a problem that has had its shadow cast over the entire world and over our region. So I do not see any justification whatsoever to be concerned about resolution of a problem. Now, I just wrote an opinion piece in Ash-Sharq al-Awsat defining our approach to our region, because we believe that our immediate region, the Persian Gulf region, is our priority. That priority will be maintained. And that I explained to our neighbors, that while we are trying to move forward with the rest of the international community, our neighborhood will always remain our priority, and we will do our best in order to maintain the security of this region, because the security of the region, the security of our neighbors, is our security. Thank you again. Thank you all very much for coming, and I wish you well. Go and have some sleep.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, that was Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif speaking live from Geneva, Switzerland, on the heels of a deal, an interim deal reached between Iran and the P5+1 regarding Iran's nuclear energy program.